Today, I'd like to talk about forms. So, forms are what our current situation or condition takes place in the realm of tangible physical realm. So, I was thinking the other day how it shifts all the time, but our idea of what we're looking at is, or what we're seeking in what we look at, always tends to stay the same, and how it slips us once the form actually changes, but our imagery of the form in our minds stays the same. So I think this happens because we associate forms with certainty. Like if we have the same pencil, the same whatever vintage art pencil it is, if we have it for a really long time, and that's the pencil that we always use to draw or take notes down, we develop a sense of comfort in that's the form. Like every day I get up and I look at that pencil, and that's what I use to take notes. That's what I use to jot down different brainstorming ideas. That's what I use to maybe sketch illustrations. And I understand that there's this sense of comfort that we all seek, and that it's important to us to a certain degree to feel a sense of belonging to the object, or to allow the object to have a sense of belonging in our lives, and for that to kind of carry our emotional stability. But there comes a point, I personally feel, there comes a point where it becomes more of a stress and a restriction than comfort. For example, what if you were using that pencil for 10 years and all of a sudden you lose it? Was that comfort, or did you just lose your 50% of your emotional stability just because you lost a pencil? Now, when you lose it, is it acting as a comfort, or is it acting as the reason why you're losing your comfort? Now, when that form takes place, that the pencil is now gone, what do you say? What do you say to yourself? Was that comfort, or was that like a form that took place that made you believe too strongly in the idea that that pencil is what's carrying your emotional stability? And I think this is where it gets dangerous, because, for example, natural disasters happen. Maybe a flood, storm, fire, or maybe even thunder hits your house. And what if you lose 60%, 75%, or even more of your belongings? And your emotional stability came from the idea that you have these sets of things and that you associate them with your lifestyle. But you've attached yourself to specific sets of conditions too much, that in the instant that those conditions evade your life, you become obsolete in the sense of being able to have comfort, being able to know your stability, being able to be yourself. I think there's a good that comes with wanting stability and having certain conditions in your lifestyle. But when the form starts to take place on its own and kind of carry its own throne, and you lose your identity's connection with the form, and it's just the form's walking on its own, because when you lose it, your identity doesn't have stability, but you realize that the form did have stability, then it's not connected to your own identity. So how would you define that form? Was it your stability, or was it the reason that you were sticking to a condition out of fear that your identity itself doesn't have stability? So that's where I'd like to leave this talk for today. The thought of, or the question of, do you stick to a form because you fear that your identity itself doesn't any longer have connection to stability in terms of what the form means? Or is your identity actually connected to what the form represents in terms of what you seek as stability in your life? So that's where I like to leave it for today. I hope this thought helps possibly clarify some of the things that you've been thinking of, or that it raises up a question that is interesting to you, intriguing to you, or helpful in some ways. Okay, so today is Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.